Saudi Arabia's bombardment of Yemen shows no signs of abating, with warplanes carrying out fresh raids on the impoverished country. Now, in the latest attacks, the kingdom's jet struck the Kukha district of Hudaydah province, killing at least 6 civilians. The airstrikes targeted an agricultural area, with farmers making up all the casualties. These bring to 36 the total number of people killed since early Monday. Over 13,600 Yemenis, mostly civilians, have been killed since Riyadh waged its war on its southern neighbor back in March 2015. Rights groups also accused Saudi Arabia of creating a humanitarian disaster in the country and using starvation as a weapon of war. Joining us now to discuss this further via Skype from Belfast is Saib Shath, who's an author and Middle East affairs expert. Many thanks for joining us here on Press TV, Mr. Shath. And now, there has been, again, a recent uptick in the intensity of these strikes on Yemeni population. Many had predicted this would happen when we saw the Ansarullah fighters retaliate with a missile.
Yeah, it's the Saudis are losing the plot, I believe, now, after especially the unfoiling of the conspiracy of Ali Abdullah Saleh to finish the war with them from within Yemen, make sedation in Yemen, infighting to, since the Saudis coalition didn't achieve its goal for the last 2 years in defeating the Yemeni people. But if we can, when we heard a few weeks ago, top UN officials has called the Saudi war of aggression in Yemen as a war on the children of Yemen. Thousands of children, as we hear daily, lost their lives to this war. Around, as you mentioned, your report, around even 14,000 Yemenis, mostly civilians, are being killed, and while the number of deaths among children expected to rise, to double, and that's from the lack of clean water, medicine, and food. The International Committee of the Red Cross stated that the number suspected of the cholera cases suspected in Yemen are going to hit 1 million, and I believe myself it's nearly over 1 million. There were nearly around 80% of the Yemeni population facing lack of food, fuel, clean water, access to health care, and stuff like that. Adding to all of that, Yemen is suffering from diphtheria right now, epidemic, and aid groups they stating that the spread of the disease is inevitable there, and because there is lack of vaccination and lack of access to any medical care, while there is the U.S. involved itself in supporting the blockade around Yemen. Lots of ships being waiting to dock in Yemen, and denied carrying this medical aid to Yemen and food, denied to dock in Yemen, sometimes it's being led to dock in Saudi Arabia, looting even the aid to Yemeni by Saudis.
Right, now, Mr. Shath, as we are quickly approaching the 3rd anniversary of the start of this aggression against Yemen by the Saudis, there are many who say that even though the Al Saud is no longer feeling safe in its palaces in the heart of Saudi Arabia, they don't have an exit strategy. Do you think that's the case?
No, they have an exit strategy. If they want the exit strategy, they can say, we want to stop the war and we want to talk to the Yemeni people and their representatives. The Saudis waged this war to break the back of Yemenis. They engineered, socially engineered the blockade and targeting the civilians, exactly as a Nazi did not during the Second World War, and the Israeli Zionist entity committing the same thing against the Palestinian. They target the civilians to make them rebel against their own army, against the Ansarullah movement who is defending the country. They increase the suffering of the people degree by degree to try to break the will of the people, and they are failing to achieve that. Saudis now, they think if they're gonna stop and sit to negotiation, they achieve nothing. They are facing compensation, rebuilding of the whole Yemen. The Yemeni people are resilient and stubborn, and they are not going to surrender at all to the Saudis. And this is the message the Yemenis said for years. They were telling them the last few years, we are developing our missiles. They have some old Soviet missiles, the Yemenis, which been used even before between the south when they fired it and the north of Yemen in 1990. But they developed it today to reach Abu Dhabi, to reach Riyadh and farther, and they're going to use that. The Saudis are trying to implicate that the Yemenis don't have that technology or they don't have that arsenal of missiles. They are escaping from that, and they're trying to get the Americans to back them and to blame the Iranian for that, as to find a way to blame Iran for the whole affairs of Yemen. But the Yemenis people insisting on getting sovereign on their state. They know the Saudis this time, they want to annex Hadramaut to their kingdom as they did with Asir and Jizan and Najran before. So there is no surrender from the Yemenis unless the Saudis accept to cease fire and to compensate the Yemenis for the loss.
All right, let's see how this pans out. That's author and Middle East affairs expert Saib Shath joining us via Skype from Belfast. Mr. Shath, it's always good having you with us here on Press TV.